Hi, my name is Noah Meir. I am the CEO of the Charney Forum for New Diplomacy. With us today is Professor and Dr. Rivka Carmi, Pediatrician and Geneticist, former president of Ben-Gurion University, first woman to be appointed president of an Israeli university. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Noah.
Can you please share some thoughts about the effect of the digital and information revolution on the medical field?
The digital revolution in medicine is really a very important phenomenon which affects both teaching of medicine in medical schools, but specifically medical services, both in hospitals and in the community. It starts with a very simple kind of platform to communicate with physicians, but it goes all the way to the very complicated and very significant kind of technologies and all kind of devices that are based on digitation.
What implications do you think that the coronavirus is already having and might have on the medical field?
Every community in the world is going to change the face of medicine, specifically the face of the way we are providing medical services. First of all, the boost to medical digitation is enormous. The whole idea of communication has gained the highest exposure that you could think of. For years, medicine has strived to really incorporate long-distance kind of communication, either with community physicians or globally with medical services that lack in a certain community and we want to provide them in another community. But now it is all about, long-distance communication. So it is both in terms of, sharing ideas, giving speeches, webinars, etc., but also actually treating patients through these digital platforms. So in my opinion, the way medical services are going to be provided in the future has been totally changed because of this crisis, of this phenomenon. But not only in medicine, it's going to be in teaching anywhere in universities for sure. For years, we were trying to incorporate this kind of teaching, long-distance teaching, with not much success. I think after the corona, we have to rethink about education and specifically higher education in general, because what was before the corona era will not be the same after.
Could you share your thoughts about what implications the coronavirus will have on globalization?
It has two aspects. On one hand, the issue is highly globalized. So in terms of information, of sharing information in real time, be it in medicine, but also, economy, others, it is unprecedented. On a daily basis, we have reports coming from all over the world, either from individuals or from organizations, from all kinds of all industries, medicine, but also biomedical research and data research, etc. So in that regard, the world opened up. So science is going to be very different. It is all like one open access right now. We were debating on open access vis-a-vis medical journals, but now everything is open access. And there is a sharing and there is a wish to share ideas, to share findings, which is very typical of a situation where the unknown is so big. We don't know, and we rely on experiences of hospitals or organizations that were exposed to the problem 2 weeks before us. So in that regard, it is going to be very open, and people are going to share information on the web, I'm sure, much more than they used before. Accordingly, they are going to create all kinds of documents and instructions on how to, be prepared to the next crisis. It will be very globally. But on the other hand, if you look at, the way every country is trying to preserve what they need in terms of really to treat patients firsthand, for example, ventilating machines, reagents for tests, all kinds of things. everybody is desperate to get all those means to really treat patients. And what I see right now is that countries tend to withhold them to themselves because everybody is in this huge, huge mess. So on one hand, it is open in terms of sharing information, what's going on, very open. But sharing resources, physical resources, it is not the case at all. Everybody is really holding it very tight. And fortunately, we have countries like China that already came out of the crisis and they can provide what we need. But other than that, we'll need to really develop our own capacity to provide or to produce things like that locally. So on one hand, globally, and on the other hand, we need to be, in a way, self-sufficient. In time of need, be ready to provide what we need on a local basis.
Every crisis serves as an opportunity. Briefly, just share a few potential opportunities that you identify at this point.
The huge opportunity here is actually to use this long distance kind of communication, which will be with us for a while, even after the peak of the crisis. We'll need a lot of time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, to still use this kind of interaction between people. So I think it was a huge opportunity for all those platforms to be created and be adapted and tailor-made to specific needs. So this is a huge opportunity. Now we had to share information because the unknown is actually what's happening right now. But in the future, because of the open access, things will be ready and be shared in real time. So science and medicine is going to be operated or being done in a very different way, much more open, much more collaborated, much more cooperative. And I think this is a huge opportunity to really foster this kind of collaborations that exist now, but not to extent that we can actually do it, because we do need a real-time information in many other instances, not only in epidemic crises. And the fact that we can open our resources, nowadays, there are so many platforms and resources that are being shared by everybody.
What advantage do you think that the Charney Forum has as a hybrid of academia and a hands-on program?
I thought very highly about the Charney's Forum even before, because the idea, of a hybrid kind of a model where you both use digital world, yet you still have this human-to-human kind of relationship. I admired it all along. But now with the Corona era, in this case, diplomacy, I think it is really ideal and optimal kind of world where such a platform is very robust. First of all, you can reach people all over the world, and it's very important for the young generation, because the young generation is being raised on technology. And I think for them, it is very important to be able to use the digital platform. But then, on the other way, you cannot really ignore the need for, face-to-face kind, people-to-people kind of interaction. So if I thought about the forum very highly before, now with the Corona era, it just proves that this is the ideal way, and this is actually a model. I think other organizations should use this model for their enterprises as well.